Hey, what's up guys? Shuckle King here for my Brawl for All Round 5 team analysis. Last season I finished in the top 16, which was pretty good. I faced some pretty good competition. I eventually got knocked out by Techno, so let's see if I want to try to do a little better than I did last season. I was pretty happy with top 16 out of 160. Now last season I had Celesteela on my team, but however Celesteela and Kieran Black were both banned from this tournament. So very interesting, very justified as well. They're both monsters, especially in a 8-person or a 8-mon format. So there's pools of 10, and I was able to get a number 2 pick actually. So I feel like the top 3 mons probably are Lando T, Tapu Koko, and Mew. In between those, I wanted either Landorus T or Tapu Koko. Not Mew as much. Mew's cool for sure though. But Ultra Player picked up Landorus T, so it made my choice pretty easy, and I went with Tapu Koko with my first pick. Now, another reason why I wanted Tapu Koko over Mew was that originally in the doc it was Tier 3 Hawlucha was on the list, which is absolutely ridiculous. However, it was changed to Tier 2, so it makes Hawlucha not as enticing, but still Tapu Koko is still a great mon in of itself. It has a very great 130 base speed, so I don't really have to worry about getting something really fast anymore. This could be my pretty easily reliable fast mon here with Volt Switch and a U-turn, which is nice if I predict a ground type. I can just have Volt Switch and get momentum in that regards and not lose it there. I'm also making Tapu Koko my Z captain, so I can have a Z Thunderbolt go off. I could go with a Gracium Z for a Grass Knot. Can go with a Tapu Neem Z, which with Nature Madness will lower my opponent's HP by 75% instead of 25%, which is nice to nab KOs that just regular Nature's Madness plus Thunderbolt wouldn't be able to get. Also gives me a Defogger, which is nice. It's not something I plan to use a whole lot on Tapu Koko, but it's certainly a good utility to have if I have a free move slot or something. I have the possibilities of going physical with base 115 attack. That's very nice with Brave Bird, and it also gets a Wild Charge. Yes. So Tapu Koko pretty easily a top threat. I guess Quick Attack too. That would be pretty cool heat if I brought that. We'll see. Doesn't get really a ton of moves to be honest, but it's so great with the Electric Surge ability that it has. The next mon I wanted to pair with it was a Special Breaker to make sure that Tapu Koko can late game sweep with just as great speed and ability with Thunderbolt plus Electric Surge. So I went with Tier 2 Blacephalon. Now, I don't really agree with Blacephalon being Tier 2. I feel like it's definitely a Tier 1 worthy mod, though I understand the limitations that it has, and it doesn't really have a great way to get past its counters, because it really is only going to run a Fire Blast, Flamethrower. I guess if you want to run a Mind Blown, which usually isn't that great of a move when you can just run Overheat, which has pretty similar power, and obviously you don't lose 50% of your health. So it's basically going to run just a Fire move plus Shadow Ball. I believe it doesn't get all the different types of hidden powers, which is unfortunate. It has Explosion, Knockoff. Again, that's basically it. It's not going to be running a whole lot. Its two best sets are going to be Choice Scarf or Choice Specs. Choice Specs is going to hit like a nuke, especially with a very good 107 base speed and 151 base special attack. And if I am a Choice Scarf set and I get a bunch of special attack boosts, Blacephalon can be a very scary late game sweeper. Though I feel like I have a decent amount of those options. And I feel like Blacephalon's can be more of the wall breaker role to get a Tapu Koko in there to win late game, but we'll see. So I really like the pairing of these two. And the next pick, which was only 2 picks after because I had a second overall pick, then I would have the 19th pick and then the 22nd pick. So there's only 2 picks between Blacephalon and the next Pokemon I picked, which was Hawlucha. I guess I could have waited to get in Hawlucha, I suppose. But if, say, somebody picked up Tapu Fini or Tapu Bulu, which was a Tier 1B, and then gotten a Hawlucha, that would have been pretty unfortunate there. I mean, I would have been able to manage without Hawlucha, but it's really, really nice. And with its base 118 speed, with Unburden, it's got a double its speed, so most of the time you don't even need the run speed investment to add speed. Basically, any choice score for your opponent's going to run, which is super nice. So it doesn't have the greatest bulk, but if I have base or 252 HP coupled with a Electric Seed, which Electric Seed will give a +1 defense boost, it can definitely tank a decent amount of hits. And it's nice with the Electric Seed boost getting a defense boost that it's not going to die as easily to priority moves, as a lot of priority moves are physical. But again, this is also a fairly straightforward mon with acrobatics. Is going to run Swords Dance, High Jump Kick, and then a last move, maybe Fire Punch. Probably not as often, just because High Jump Kick hits a lot. It's the Steel types. Iron Head could be a possibility for fairies, as is Poison Jab, or Stone Edge for Zapdos. So Hawlucha definitely has a ton of options here. It could also run Roost. It can run Defog. I also don't have to run Unburden. I can run Mold Breaker with the set for sure, and just run like a Life Orb set, and I feel like that would still do decent damage as well, not having to rely on the speed boost and have more power right off the bat. Or just even run maybe like Power Her Sky Attack. So Hawlucha doesn't need Coco to be successful, but it's definitely a great pairing for sure. And it's a pretty good OU pairing, or it used to be. I don't know. I don't really follow Smogon a whole lot anymore. So right now with these 3 picks, I definitely need Stealth Rock users. I got nothing in that regards right now. And I don't have the best physical attackers on my team. To like Wall Break or such. I mean, Hawlucha is good, but it's very situational. You're really only going to be able to get it in one time. So maybe a Mana can come in multiple times throughout a match would be preferred. And damage on the physical side. Also, it'd be nice to get a Momentum in general, to get Blacephalon in. Tapu Koko certainly can do that. Hawlucha is usually not going to run U-turn, but maybe getting slower U-turn or Volt Switch mons would be very nice. I don't have the greatest Scald switch-ins. Coco doesn't really want to take a ton of damage. Hawlucha doesn't want to get burned. And Blacephalon's obviously there. I'm also fairly weak to ground with Coco with Blacephalon. Now Hawlucha helps with that, obviously. But a lot of ground types will have Stone, Edge, or Rock coverage. Which will den Hawlucha for sure. So, there are already a couple things I want to patch up in the next 2 picks. Essentially, it's almost like a wheel. So the next thing I have that probably doesn't really help with any of that, really, actually, is Greninja. Greninja was kind of surprised that it was still around as a Tier 2B. I think it was a Tier 2B mon, which means it was a little bit less points than like a Tier 2A mon like Blacephalon was. But this is a very nice mon just because it gets spikes and toxic spikes. Which will wear down and make it easier for Blacephalon or Coco to sweep late game. Toxic Spikes are very nice utility to have, just because in 8-mon format, it's a little bit harder for your opponent to draft a grounded poison type. So there's going to be opportunities where my opponent's not going to have that, and I'll be able to get them up and pressure them to defog. In the meanwhile, I'll have a bunch of breakers to try to make sure that doesn't happen. And if they do a Rapid Spin to get rid of the Toxic Spikes, and I do a Blacephalon to block that, which is a cool combination there. It's also a very fast mon to get with momentum to get Blacephalon in as well, hopefully. It also has priority in the form of Water Shuriken, which I really like this move on Greninja. I try to run it on most sets when I can. It's usually known as a special attacker with very nice coverage. See Dark Pulse, Sentry, Grass Knot, Ice Beam, Water coverage. It can definitely also go physical with Rock Slide, you see there, Gunk Shot, Waterfall, Low Kick, Night Slash, Quick Attack is also another form of priority, which is cool. So Greninja definitely has a lot of versatility as a spiker and as either physical or special attacker. It's also nice to have a dark type in general, just so like maybe like Reuniclus can't just win with a barrier. No, it's acid armor plus calm mind, mono attacking psychic sets. It forces your opponent, or Cresselia or something like that. It forces your opponent to run some type of coverage move at least to try to hit Greninja, which will make it not as scary of a defensive setup sweeper. So maybe getting Stealth Rocks would be a good idea. So I went with Uxie with this pick, which I know had sniped a couple people, which was cool. It was between Uxie or a Registeel for this slot, and Registeel was taken with the very next pick. So spoilers, I won't be getting Registeel. But Uxie is really nice. This is also a somewhat slowish U-turn user. It does have base 95 speed, but I can definitely run like a minus speed nature with no IVs and be fairly slow in that regard. But I also do have a ton of speed where I can surprise maybe attackers that assume will be faster if I don't run speed, but I could just run a bunch of speed and outspeed. Maybe base like 80 attackers like Nidoking or something like that. Base 75 attack, special attack isn't great, but it has a ton of coverage. You see Energy Ball, Fire Punch, Foul Play is very nice, Giga Drain for recovery. Hidden powers, obviously, Psychic Move, Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, Thunderbolt. It has a ton of coverage. So that's very nice for Uxie. It's not going to be a setup fodder that easily, and of course I can also U-turn out of there if I feel like there is an opportunity happening like that. I also have Memento, which I can get essentially a free switch into maybe Blacephalon or Coco or Halucha, maybe my other mons later on, and maybe give them an opportunity to set up. So Uxie is a very nice combination with these two, with the whole team. It also is a ground resist, which is certainly very nice to have, with Coco plus Blacephalon to try to prevent like Choice Scarf, Earthquakes, or whatever. So at this point in the draft, I have 3 picks left. I have no hazard removal. I mean, I have Coco and Halucha, but I would like a little bit more reliability in that regard. Though I'm not terribly Stealth Rock weak right now, besides for Blacephalon, it would be nice to deal with that either. I don't have a great rock switch in. Coco is not going to really take rock moves. Halucha doesn't want to take them. Uxie can take them alright, but I'm going to rely on Uxie to take a ton of hits on this team. So that's not the greatest solution, unless if I get another type of wall later on. I really don't have a physical breaker either for Halucha, and it would be nice to get a physical wall breaker for a Halucha to sweep easier in the endgame. And I also don't have a Mega, so I'll have to address that at some point, but not before I pick my Tier 5 B, Mon, and Kamala. Now, I saw this there, and I figured it's gotta be better than Tier 5B. Now, it may not be, and I'll learn my lesson if that's the case here. But it's a cheap rapid spinner that is also a fairly nice gold switch in with a 65, 95 special defense, plus the Comatose ability, which I cannot be status and considered asleep, so I won't be Scald Burned, which is really nice. And I do have a Wish Protect to somewhat reliably heal myself. It's also another U-turn user to try to get a Blacephalon in, or a Topic Coco, which is really cool there. And Kamala's only weakness is fighting, and obviously I have Uxie plus Halucha plus Blacephalon plus Tapu Koko, so I'm not really worried about. And I'm gonna have another fighting resist later, 2 fighting resist actually later on, for my last 2 picks. So I'm really not too scared of fighting types at all. So Kamala can easily be a very big nuisance to opponents' teams if they're not ready for it. And I do have base 115 attack, and I'm also going to have Z moves on Kamala. So I could run like Normalium Z. What's the strongest normal move it gets? Get Double Edge? It does not. I guess Return is its strongest normal move, which is definitely fine. Wood Hammer is cool for rock types I want to try to switch in. Superpower is nice for steel types I want to switch in. So definitely it's very nice offensive mule pool right there. So the next Pokemon I picked is my Mega. There was one other team that didn't pick their Mega, and I didn't want to get my Mega sniped, but I was okay with getting my Tier 4 sniped, which it kind of was. I really wasn't sure on my very last pick, but I'll talk about that when I get there. So it was either going to be between Mega Medicham or Mega Pinsir on the team, and I decided to go with Mega Medicham. Pinsir would have been cool. I don't have the greatest hazard removal. I will get another hazard remover with my last pick, though. So I could have picked Pinsir for sure. But Medi is really nice and a little bit more reliable, so I don't have to worry about getting hazards off for Medicham to still be successful. And Pinsir is more of a sweeper, and I really don't need a sweeper in this type of role because Hawlucha and Tapu Koko, Blacephalon all do that pretty well. So Medicham also works very nice in his team just because I have Kamala, Uxie, Greninja, and Koko to all get a momentum and get free switches in for Medicham. Because Medicham really has very limited switch-ins, which are like bulky Psychic types and Ghost types, which hopefully Greninja will be able to handle those throughout this season. It's got Priority, which is nice, and a Bullet Punch and a Fake Out. And what's nice with this is with Thunder Punch in the terrain, water types are not going to be great switch-ins. Like a physically defensive bulky water types could also somewhat handle Mega Medicham, but if I have Thunder Punch in the terrain, it's going to hurt a lot. So it's not going to be too reliable of a switch in there. And it's also another reason why I went with Medicham, because my water answers aren't the greatest on this team, which is basically Greninja. Uxie is alright, but it doesn't really want to get burned if it doesn't have to. And Kamala, but I don't know how often I'm going to bring Kamala. So being able to take out electric types is certainly nice at Medicham. And the last mon I wanted was a Tier 4 that could get up rocks, because Uxie was the only one that could get up stealth rocks, so getting a secondary one would be good. I also went with Medicham because I didn't want to somewhat steal a MV's team with a Koko plus the last mon I have here, plus Mega Pinsir. But anyway, so I kind of wanted Rhyperior for my 8th mon, but it was taken, which is fine. So I would like to have another Defogger, just to make sure if like they have a Ghost type and hazard stacking, I'm not forced to bring a Defog Hawlucha, because Kamala is not going to be reliable if they have a Ghost on a hazard stacking team. And also getting a form of momentum is certainly nice as well, and also something that can take an electric type hit, because my team has no electric immunities, so stuff like Thunder's Eye could just easily run Choice Scarf and be a very big nuisance to my team, because I have no immunities here. So by drafting the last mon, which is Gligar, at least I force them to not run Choice Scarf. For electric types, I mean, I guess they could, but it's going to give a free switch into Gligar here, which I'm certainly fine with. And from there, again, I have momentum on this, and I can U-turn out if they're locked in a Volt Switch there, and gain momentum again. So this team is everything but Medicham or Blacephalon have a form of momentum, which is usually something I don't focus on teams. I'll get maybe one U-turn or Volt Switcher, and that's usually sufficient for me. But I really went all out to try to focus on Blacephalon and Medicham to pick up a ton of sweeps, or a wall break to the ability to where Tapu Koko or Hawlucha can win in the late game. There's a lot of attacking options on this team, and it's very cool. But anyway, Gligar has Stealth Rocks, U-turn, Defog, not great attacking power, however. So this would be like the one mon that maybe opponents could try to set up on. But again, U-turn is there, so that way it's not that big of a deal. I also have Baton Pass if I want to get Sword Stances up into Hawlucha, Kamala, Medicham, Koko even. I have that capability, which is certainly cool. Hone Claws, I guess if I want to not miss High Jump Kick with Medicham. Rock Polish is not allowed in this league to be Baton Passed, which is certainly unfortunate, but it's alright. So yeah, this is pretty much the team. I guess Gligar also somewhat takes rock hits pretty well, with a base 65 plus 105 defense plus a Eviolite. It's going to be taking Stone Edges with really no problems, and it can reliably recover off the damage and roost. So that's my team. I feel like I got pretty much everything that I wanted. Not perfectly, but I had a couple ideas on what type of team I wanted, and I feel like this team is going to be a ton of fun, even if it doesn't do that well. So hopefully I do well, and I'll be posting my pools hopefully pretty soon. So later, guys.